Yes, people, welcome back to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. Smash that like button, get your comments in as to how Arne Slot, this beautiful man right next to me, around my neck, and this fella, Eric, has got on at Liverpool so far. Subscribe if you haven't already. The eagle-eyed amongst you will know that 8 months ago, when Arne Slot was announced as Liverpool manager, I met this fella. This fella came into my life, Eric. As you can see, he's done his best Arne Slot impression for us. He is a Feyenoord fan. So at the time, it was the best person to get on the channel to understand a little bit more about Arne Slot. And obviously, since then, like you said, bro, it's going to go well. He could be the next Klopp. He could do even better than Klopp. At the time, I was thinking, Eric, don't disrespect us, right? Klopp's gone out the door. Have a bit of time for us to mull this over. But he's done very well, as we know. So, Eric, thank you for coming onto the channel. We really appreciate it. How are you?
No worries. I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. I'm going to get this off my head, but this is the new haircut that everybody has in Holland now. It's Succession.
Succession. We loved it. Yeah, and he's got a great head of hair, so get that off.
Yeah,
look, he's a Feyenoord fan, but Eric is one of the top football shirt collectors in Europe, right? I'm on his Instagram all the time. He's always selling amazing shirts. I mean, if there's any proof of that, look at the shirts behind him, right?
Thank
96,
you.
97 on the left, the yellow one, 93, 94.
Yeah, I think so. Either the away or the third kit. It's size medium, and of course one of the Liverpool legends. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve McManaman. We love to see it, and the jacket is sensational as well.
Yes, thank you. It doesn't really, but yeah.
Hopefully, Adidas next season bring it back and they give us some retro styles, and we can get amongst and enjoy those.
Yeah,
I wanted to get you on again because the first video was so successful, right? We were speaking in depth about Arne Slot's past at Feyenoord, AZ Alkmaar, even PK's Wall.
Yes.
Which is his home team, which is your local team as well. There is an opportunity that I come out to Holland to meet you in early June.
Yes.
That's the Boots game. We'll talk more about that. But at the time, I remember you saying he's very similar to Klopp in the way he is a fan favorite. He deals with the media perfectly. And if I'm honest, you've been absolutely right. Because so far, what we've seen, well, top of the Champions League. Obviously, we've got a game coming up in, maybe in a couple of weeks when we find out who we're going to play. We're top of the Premier League. We're in the semi-final. At the time of recording this, it's 3 o'clock on Thursday. The semi-final is tonight at 8 o'clock. But that's a great start. We're through in the FA Cup as well. So, Eric, thank you. You were right. Obviously, look, he still has the rest of the season to play. We're going to speak at the end of the season as well. So we're doing a start, mid, and end video with yourself. And he could become an absolute legendary manager if he wins the Premier League, if he wins the Champions League. But man, in his second away game for Liverpool, he beat Manchester United 3-0. I mean, my question to you, Eric, is did you even expect that it would go this well at Liverpool for your former manager, who you absolutely love?
Yeah, well, of course, we hope that. And as we talked about in the first video, you really hope that someone like Slot is going to do well. But to be honest, he hasn't managed a club outside of the Netherlands, and let alone maybe even the biggest or one of the biggest clubs in the world. So yeah, we were spot on in the first video, and all thanks to Slot and Liverpool for making that through. But I think now even we were not expecting this soon. Maybe if in a couple of seasons we could really see his play style and the way he was pressing and attacking. But I think in like even 2 or 3 games it was already visible how we want to play. I think Gravenberg is a key player in the midfield to combine the defense with the attack. So yeah, I think and I think it's great management from Liverpool too, because they've sourced it really well. Even though Arne Slot was an unknown manager for a lot of people in the UK, I think they did a really good research on him, not only on his personality but also on his play style. and a lot of the players that play at Liverpool already were keen with the play style, adapted really quickly. And I think Klopp even said it in an interview a couple of weeks ago. Liverpool's playing the best football he's ever seen. So no, for him, it's also no regrets that he left.
Yeah, man. Listen, again, I go back to the time that we first spoke, and Liverpool fans were cautious of maybe giving him so much credit before he'd started. Yes, we can listen to Feyenoord fans, and that was amazing to hear the insight. But I think with Liverpool fans, we need to see it in the flesh. We need to understand it in person. We need to see evidence of his playing style, the way he deals with the media. How is he going to deal with the contract situations? If I'm honest, if I was to give him like a half season score out of 10 so far, it would be impossible to give it any less than a 9.
Yeah,
I mean, I could only give it a 10 if we'd beaten Nottingham Forest in that game that we lost. If we'd beaten PSV, but that game was really. So I have to give Arne Slot a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 9.25 or a 9.5 out of 10, because everything that he's done so far is exactly what you said would happen back in May when we spoke, you know?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think the way he, the contract situation is, of course, a thing that's a bit annoying for him, I think, because it takes away a bit of focus on just the football. And I think the contract situation around Van Dijk isn't that difficult, but the one around Trent Alexander-Arnold and Salah is. And what Slot really did in Holland was trying to stay focused just on the football part. And that was why I was a bit cautious when he went over to Liverpool, because in the UK you got so much more stuff going on, so much more pressure, so much more media, and we've seen it with a lot of Dutch managers, that it's hard to control the media, and definitely it's easier when you win your first few games. But I also think he is the one that really understands how you need to approach people, and definitely in the media. So you see, he always has this little tactic of making a little joke, and it's often a little joke about himself to lighten the mood a little bit. So yeah, that's amazing. And the football he's playing is, I think, the best in the world at the moment. It's attacking, and I've seen a lot of matches because we are following Liverpool closely now, and we did. But when Slot went over there, I think everyone in Holland is rooting for him. It's not only the Feyenoord fans, not only the Zwolle fans. It's everybody, because he's such a likable person, and he plays really well attacking football.
Yeah, I think the likability factor is something that maybe because we had Klopp before, we didn't know how that would turn out. But again, man, there's scarves with his face on already. You know, everyone absolutely loves Arne Slot from what we've seen so far. Again, the way he deals with the press and, like you say, he makes little jokes about himself, that will do nothing but benefit you with the fans, and they'll really find a connection there if you go down that road. And I think the ongoing success that he has, it hasn't got to his head. He almost plays down every time he's asked a question about, wow, you must be so happy with your start. And then it changed from your start to, well, actually, we're in November, December, January. It's all still going so well. But he's always just played it down. He's not really got over excited about his success at Liverpool so far. And I think that's another reason why we love him so much already, because if he was the kind of person like a Mourinho, let's say, who won his first 5 games, he'd probably brag about that. He'd say, I'm the only one that's done this. But how do you finish at the end of the season? So let me ask you this one now. If he ends up with a Premier League title, let's just say Champions League, FA Cup, the League Cup, let's just say it's just the Premier League. There's not many managers out there ever in the Premier League that have come into this league, which is the most difficult, the most competitive, the quickest league in the world, and actually won a Premier League first. So what do you think? I can answer it after, but what do you think is success for Arne Slot in his first season now, whilst we're in this stage?
What do you mean about what is the rate? What's the chance that he's gonna win the title? Or?
Well, let's just say he wins the Premier League.
Yeah,
I mean, how incredible would that be for
and
him to?
that will be amazing, because if you look at how many Dutch, even for the Netherlands, there aren't that much good Dutch trainers, managers outside of the Eredivisie, and we never had a lot of them. And for a small country like us, it's amazing if a down to earth person, because we also had Louis van Gaal and Erik ten Hag, but they had bust ups with the media, and now here's someone that's down to earth, a bit like how we are as Dutch people. We are down to earth, straightforward.
Yeah.
That will be incredible. Not only for Slot, not only for Liverpool, but also for the Dutch football. Because I think if we look back in the history of the Dutch football, we've always come short a little bit. We've only won one European title, and that's it, you know. So it would be amazing if Slot wins a title, or wins even a cup, or maybe even Champions League. So I think, yeah, that would be not only for Slot and Liverpool, but for, I think, the whole of the Netherlands will be cheering for you guys. And I think I think that's a funny thing to see now that Manchester City are falling off a little bit, and Arsenal. Um, I see a lot of people in the UK also cheering for Liverpool.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think that's funny to see, because I think that wasn't the case before.
I think as well, what Liverpool fans have maybe not thought of that much is the reaction back home in Holland, right? The media out there is really rooting for Slot. Obviously, we've taken him in as one of our own, but I think it's easy to forget that actually most of Holland, obviously not PSV or Ajax fans, most of Holland are congratulating him for his success so far, and they're actually almost become Liverpool fans because of Arne Slot, which is amazing to see. But I remember in the video that we did 8 months ago, I remember saying what I'd like expectation-wise from Arne Slot, and I think I said at the time, I'd love us to win a trophy. Now, obviously, back then I was more thinking of the FA Cup and the League Cup. But I mean, if he wins a Premier League, I said I wanted top 4 and a trophy. But if he wins the Premier League, bro, I might have to come over to Holland and start thanking every person at Feyenoord and yourself and PK Zwolle, because he would become an instant legend at Liverpool if he wins this Premier League, the Champions League. We're the best team in Europe right now. I mean, what a start, man. No way did I think anything like this. We're almost mid-February. There's no way I thought he would achieve this, what he's achieved so far. So thank you to Feyenoord, I have to say.
And he's been so consistently throughout the whole season. And I think one of his biggest qualities is what you said. He's downplaying it. He's, as Haaland says, be humble and try to keep the pressure down for the players and for himself and stuff. But what I also see is Slot is a really caring person, and he loves to do charity stuff. And now in the last few, I think everybody is rooting for Liverpool, because even the staff, not only the staff around first selection, but the staff in the office, the players, the fans, everybody gets behind the team. And I think if you can manage to get that, you're destined to achieve great things. And I think, he's en route to be a legend already in his first season. And that's not only Slot's his what he did, but it's also Liverpool for doing a great research on who do we need after Klopp, because they are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and for a Liverpool fan, there's no shoes bigger to fill the Jurgen Klopp. But exactly. I think when you saw Jurgen Klopp sing Arne Slot's name, right, when the Klopp was leaving, and I said to you on the last video, I don't think there's ever been an outgoing manager that holds the microphone in front of the whole stadium and doesn't sing his name, doesn't sing a player's name. He sings the name of the next manager that's about to come and take his job. And Arne Slot has said, look, we've added some things from what Klopp did. We've taken away some things. We've changed some things. But he appreciates the hard work that Klopp did. Do you think that if Liverpool do win this league title, how much of that will be down to Jurgen Klopp leaving behind such a great squad, but how much of it will be down to Arne Slot?
I think it's also a lot on Klopp. I think it's also successful Klopp if Liverpool wins the league. They play a pretty similar kind of style of football. I think Klopp was a bit more pressure-like, and Slot is a bit more possession-like.
Yeah.
That's why I think a player like Gravenberch is now doing so well, because he's more of a football type. And if I look at a player like Endo, is more of a center defensive mid in a defensive style and a tackling style. So yeah, I think it's also Klopp, because he laid the basics for a lot of players. Because in the transfer window, they only got Chiesa, who played well maybe twice or 3 times now.
Yeah.
So that's also something that's pretty special. Normally, you see that a trainer tries to get signings in, maybe some signings he already knew from back home. But yeah, I think that's again really great research from the Liverpool staff. To get a person that's almost like Klopp. He's such a likable and a lovable person, but also playing style. So I think Klopp has a big part in this. But I think the finishing touch, why he's so dominant now, that's on Slot.
When you talk about Gravenberch, we talk about players that maybe didn't have the best season under Klopp last year. And even that team was still really close to greatness. You know, they were in all the competitions up until April. But there are a few players that we have to talk about in terms of how much they've improved. Gravenberch is obviously one of them. There is that Dutch connection. I actually think Van Dijk's playing better this season than last season. I think Szoboszlai is playing better this season than last season. I think Cody Gakpo is playing a lot better this season than last season. And there must be something in the Dutch connection. There must be something that Slot is getting out of these players, or is telling them to do slightly different things compared to Klopp. But he's getting more out of them, and they're better players. I mean, a lot of people were saying, not me, but some people were saying, look, Gravenberch is not going to make it at Liverpool. We have to move on. But he's been the best midfielder in the Premier League this season. So why has Arne Slot managed to get even more out of these players?
Well, I'll do you one better. I think Gravenberch now is the best player in the world. I think he's playing the best football I've seen in all the competitions. He still has a lot to learn, but I think the way he's playing right now, he's the most dominant player in the big leagues.
That's a great shout.
I think it's the Dutch connection, of course. For Gravenberch, we are really happy because he's also been very important for the Dutch squad now. And he was such a big talent at Ajax, but he went to Bayern Munich and then to Liverpool, and he just faded away a little bit. And that was such a shame. We thought it was another wasted talent. And we love to see that Slot got him back on track again in the hardest competition in the world, on maybe even the hardest position in the Premier League. For someone like Gravenberch, I think he's doing really well. For Gakpo, that's not only, I think, Slot, but it's also someone who needed to have some time, needed to adjust to the Premier League and the intensity. He's also really in form. And just look at Virgil van Dijk. I think it's his best season after his knee injury. Salah is playing amazing, because if they continue to do this, I might think Salah win the Ballon d'Or.
Who would have thought that if Salah ever wins the Ballon d'Or, it would be under Arne Slot and not Jurgen Klopp? It's just amazing, the start that he's made so far. But listen, we're sitting here in February talking about how well Liverpool have been doing, but I don't want to go over the line too much, because obviously the business end of the season is still here. So as a former, well, you're still a Slot lover, but as a former Feyenoord manager, you're a Feyenoord fan. What is your prediction for Slot to come away with after his first year at Liverpool? What trophies is he going to actually win?
Well, I think I've looked at the fixtures that are still left, the games that are still left, and to be honest, you got Manchester City at the end of February. If you win that, you're really en route to win a title. Really important is that I think it's next week that you win the game against Everton. So you
yeah,
get,
horrible.
so you get a 9 point lead against Arsenal, um, and it all comes together because I think there's not a Premier League team that's that consistent at Liverpool. You see Arsenal losing, you see Chelsea losing, City has a major downfall. Um, and I've seen that in I think the end of April and the beginning of May they have a 2 weeks. They have Tottenham, Chelsea, and Arsenal. I think that's going to be a major signal if they win.
At home though.
What did you say? Sorry.
Tottenham and Arsenal, the home games. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that you've already had some really hard games, and there's not a game that you've lost big or you've lost with a lot of goals against. I think every game you've been dominant and you've been smart. I've seen the Arsenal away game, and I think sometimes you just gotta know. All right, a point away at Arsenal is fine. So yeah, I think they're doing it really smart. They are consistent, and I think if they, yeah, I think he comes away with a title, and I want to be humble. I don't want to jinx anything, but I think if they play like this, it's bound to happen. And I think that's going to be the only trophy he wins this season. I think maybe I think you semi-finalist in the Champions League, something like that. And for him, I hope, and for Liverpool, I hope everyone stays pretty fit.
Yeah, man.
I think that Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't available tonight. I think you've got some depth in the squad, but you got some key players, and if you're gonna miss those, yeah, it's gonna be hard. But I think that's gonna be my prediction, and you can hold me that at the end we do another one.
Arne Slot comes in and wins the Premier League in his first season. I think everyone in the chat, everyone watching this video right now, owes Eric a pint because he told us, man. He told us back in June, I think it was. So big up, man. Listen, it's been a great pleasure and honor to have you on the channel once again, man. We've got to make your hat-trick appearance at the end of the season. if you can, if there is a trophy to celebrate, why don't you come to Liverpool? We can celebrate together. Who knows? But listen, man, Eric, what a guy. Like I said, Eric's Instagram channel, Wall of Football Shirts, an incredible, outstanding, one of the best I've ever seen collections of retro football shirts. So make sure you go and follow him. In Dutch, maybe a final message for good luck to Arne Slot.
Arne Slot, zet hem op, jongen. We zijn ervoor. Kom op!
What does that mean?
It means Arne Slot, good luck. We're rooting for you. Like that, yeah.
We love to see it, bro. We love to see it. Listen, man, thank you so much for coming on. And like I said, you have to make your hat-trick appearance for a celebration. We have to do a big video for that. So yeah, listen, thank you once again. Smash that like button. Get your comments in. How has Arne Slot fared as Liverpool manager so far? I'm giving it a 9.25 out of 10. Very specific, very precise, but that's what I think. Let me know what you think and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you in May, hopefully, Eric. Take care, my bro.
Take care. Thanks for having me on.
Always.